Shalom. From Yerushalayim, Levi Chazan coming to you. From Yeshivat Reon Heyudi. Parsha Bo. You know, a lot of people ask me about the Exodus from Egypt. Well, actually, not a lot of people. Some people ask me about that. No, actually, nobody asks me. Actually, nobody speaks to me much. People don't like me too much anyway. People hate me generally. But now that we're here, let's discuss anyway the Parsha Bo. And we're talking about the Exodus from the land of Egypt, which we find in this week's Parsha. So beautifully put. And here it is, after the 10 Makot, the 10 plagues, fell down upon Egypt land. Finally, Paro gives in and releases the Jewish people, releases the slaves to freedom. That's right. An interesting thing we see if we look over the whole picture of what happened in Egypt land. When Moshe first arrived on the scene with Aaron, his brother, and told Paro to release the Jewish people, Paro, as we're told, looked up in his book, "Who is God? I don't know God. Never heard of him before. Don't know what you're talking about, and I will not release the Jewish people." Not only didn't he release the Jewish people, but as we know, he actually made work even harder for the Jewish people. He made conditions even worse for them. So that was like a bad thing, and that, of course, was very bad. But as time went on and the plagues hit them one after the other, finally there was a crack in the system, as we find in the plague of hail. After the plague of hail, Paro himself is willing to release the Jewish people, or at least partially, but he's still holding on to some type of power over here. He's still holding on to the rings. He's not letting go and saying, "I'm not in control." And he says to Moshe, who is leaving, and Moshe Rabbeinu replies, "We're going, everyone's going." And Paro answers him and says, "No, you don't really need everybody to go. Just take the men with you. Leave the children behind." And Moshe says, "No way. There are no conditions, because you must totally come to the understanding that God is the mover of history, and he is a kol yachol. He is in the power of position. He rules over everything. There is no power besides him." Paro still didn't understand that. And so we have the next plague, which is locusts. Locust hits the Egyptians, finishes off everything that was in the fields. Nothing's remaining. And now Paro says, "You know what, take the children with you. Go, just get out of here. But don't take the animals." There was always a but over there. As long as there's a but involved over here with Paro, as long as there's something else that Paro thinks he's in charge of, that he's in control, it's not 100% Kiddush Hashem. It's not 100% redemption. So Moshe says to him, "No, not only will we take our animals with us, but you yourself, Paro, you will give animals to us to sacrifice on your behalf." And of course, Paro sends him out before the Jewish people. And we find out that finally, after the 10th Makkah, the slaying of the firstborn, Paro has just about completely given up. He holds on to nothing anymore. He realizes that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the master of the universe, is the man in charge. And this is the lesson that we see over here from Yetziat Mitzrayim, from the redemption of Egypt. We come to learn a very important lesson, which could explain to us why the Jewish people had to be slaves and go through this whole process of 210 years in slavery in Egypt. Because we had to come to the realization that God not only takes a direct part in what goes on in this world, and he communicates through the prophets, but not only that, but he is also the mover of history. And there is no other powers in this world besides him. And this is the lesson that we come out to teach us about Egypt. You know, a lot of people I hear about, different rabbis, they teach us different lessons about Egypt. They try to water things down. They tell us a little bit of that. Oh, we should learn about this. We should learn different lessons. Yeah, they're all in the back burner, though. The main lesson that we have to learn about the redemption which took place in Egypt. And remember, it's not just something that happened long ago, but the redemption of Egypt is a blueprint for our own redemption that's going to take place in our day, which is already taking place in our days. The idea and the goal over here is the person to realize that God interacts with people in this world. That's one. He is the all-powerful. There is no powers behind him, besides him. He is everything in this world. And he is doing everything in order to have a Kiddush Hashem. The Jews had to go through this process, this slavery, to be redeemed in order to teach us these valuable lessons over here. that God is the master of the world, and he took the Jewish people out of slavery and brought us into the land of Eretz Yisrael. So that's it this time, boys and girls. I think we're all set. And, if people would have asked me questions, this is definitely something which I would have said to them. Hey, I think our time is up. We'll see you next time in Parsha Shavua. I am Levi Chazan, and you are not. Till next week.